Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Sackdown. Today we have GiantX Jackies with us today. I know I normally ask the first question on the show, but I think Yamato had a plan for this one. He wanted to take us through Jackie's journey. He wanted to take us back in time to the Czech Republic, the Czech scene, where Jackie's obviously started his career. So Yamato, let us lead us on our way.
You know, Jackies, we had a wonderful guest with the name of Kazi, and he told us many crazy things about what's going on in the Czech scene. So I'm curious from your side, to start us off. Are the Czech stories, are they tied to everyone in the Czech Republic, or is Kazi and Humanoid just the anecdotes? Do you have any crazy Czech league stories for us that you can share with us?
I don't know what stories Kazi told you, but I don't know. They're for sure true, 100%, whatever he said, because
Okay.
Czech
We can give
scene-
you one. Yeah, we could give you a Czech story. I mean, what he said is during one of the games that he played, like his mid laner was like on drugs. Like he like went into the crowd, he like did some drugs. Like another guy was just drunk like from the night before. Like people were just drinking the entire day. Like he was like hungover and all this stuff, and they just played on drugs and drunk at like the finals of I guess like Hit Point.
Yeah, that's honestly I don't know, but that sounds 100% true because I wouldn't be surprised if the people in Czech scene, like probably not now to be fair, but way before, just before their LAN, they just go out, to drink and just click on the stage. But yeah, I mean it's true. Humano and Kazi are different, but this is for sure true. Yeah.
And on your end, did you experience any craziness? Do you have any stories you can share, or is like not past the statute of limitation yet? It's like a story in 5 years or something.
I think since I came, it started to be a bit more chill. 100%. I didn't experience some crazy shit, so I think it's past my time already. Sadly, now Czech scene is a bit more calm, I guess.
I do know though that, like I've been told, like with really good sources, that if you don't get to drink a beer at the team dinners, that you would just run it down. Like you would just run it down. You would just punish everybody in the teams. Is this true?
Wait, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean maybe not on purpose, but I would like a beer on a team dinner, 100%. Yeah.
This is you have to have it. There's no negotiation with the coaches. They don't.
I mean they have to give me a beer if it's a team dinner. They have to. Yeah. I mean I'm Czech. Like come on, they have to.
Okay. That's what I wanted to come down to. I guess the main thing we should move to is in my mind where I wanted to go down was in terms of the acquisition process. For me, you were a very surprising prospect. You just came into the team. We heard the story about how you were like a solo queue talent that was talented. What was the story you heard, Dom?
Well, I was gonna say that we have a joke on the stream. We call him like a test tube baby. Like he was like engineered in a lab, like in vitro fertilization, this type of thing. Because the whole idea is that you didn't have any like tier 1 ERL experience or like the big ERL experience, and you just went straight into the team based off analytics and like solo queue data, and they found that you were some insane solo queue talent. They have advanced systems to measure who's actually going to play well in LEC based on how they play in solo queue. It's more than just straight up how high you are on the ladder and stuff like that. So based off advanced metrics, you were like supposed to be one of the first players that was scouted through these systems and put in the LEC. Is this true from your end? Like, how did you get into the LEC and skip that step of like tier 1 ERLs?
I mean, I think honestly it's true because I've been actually like after our year like last year. So like when we went to off season, I was actually kind of asking about it. Like how the fuck it happened. And I've seen some sheets and they showed me actually the stats and stuff. So it's for sure true that it was just some random stats. But for me, the crazy part is I never really try hard at solo queue. I was kind of just like clicking to click. Like I didn't care. I wasn't even high on the ladder. But I guess my stats were just correct for some reason because they showed me that with like there was LEC players right in those stats. And I was like kind of same as caps or below as caps in those stats. And I guess for Excel, that was like the biggest turning point or something. So, I mean, the stats part, as far as I know, I think it's true, yeah.
Just to loop everybody in, it's like because I know that a lot of analysts are trying to like moneyball, the league scene, and basically in most cases, what I've seen that analysts have shown me is that they kind of gather aggregates of stats on certain champions and they kind of make comparisons like damage per goal, damage per minute, CS at certain points. And with enough volume and data, there are like outliers. And then they basically like fine tune until it like kind of makes sense in a way. And so basically like so they collect like 10 to 15 stats of the most important. And in this case, it turns out that the GX analyst found that Jack is just a big smurfer, which to my surprise, honestly, when I heard the story, Dom, I was like, okay, this is like, I thought they found Peach the same way. So I was like very, very skeptical. But then Jackie's just jumped into the scene and he started smurfing.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting to see because apparently I've seen some of like the behind the scenes on these stats and they've been pretty accurate with predicting some of the really like top tier talents. Like for example, somebody showed me back in 2023, right before Milky Way had that pop off split in 2024, that the stats for 2023 summer, the best two junglers in the world based off this like mathematical model or whatever, were Owner #1 and Milky Way #2. And I think like maybe Way was #3, somebody like that was #3 in 2023. So it's actually kind of crazy that they've been able to predict so many talents like that. And for me, I just kind of want to know exactly what the stats entail because yeah, it's not just based off solo queue rank, and it just seems like it would be hard to actually predict. I mean, I guess we haven't really heard of the misses because the people that create the stats, they don't tell you like, oh yeah, I predicted for Scowie to be the best mid in LEC 2024. They don't like hit you with those, like they normally gloat when they actually have the hits. So I guess I'm not sure how accurate they really are, but there's definitely been some people that have came through this way and ended up being good.
I think, in my mind, what was so impressive about you, Jack, is in your first LEC split was that you didn't strike me as like a rookie at all in the way you play the game. Like you seemed to be very bold. You were playing to win. I remember like there was this specific Yon game where like the combos weren't landing, but I liked the vision, I liked where you were heading. So it just seemed like you were playing with the right headspace. In terms of how you viewed yourself coming into the LEC and the experience you had gathered so far, how did you experience that? Did you feel like you were a rookie? Did you feel inexperienced? How was the transition for you?
I mean, when I came, I for sure felt like a rookie, right? Because when I come next to Odo and Ignar and Patrick and people like this, right? Let's say like the first scrims, people they were talking about stuff I never even heard. I didn't even know that's a concept or something like that. But when it came to playing on stage, I didn't really like. Usually when I play on stage, I don't really care that I play on stage. For me, it's like the same game. Like, not to say that it feels like solo queue, of course not, but like I'm not scared to like do some random fucking TikTok mechanics on Yon, if I see the angle. So
yeah. Oh, I saw one mechanic on Yon that you had in I think one of your first LEC games. It might have been on your first Yone game actually. That was the TikTok combo.
I mean, I don't know if it worked because I don't remember, but
I could probably find it.
Maybe that's not a good thing, but yeah, I mean, as I said, I don't really like. I didn't care when I went on stage, but yeah, I mean, when it came to like for sure mid game and side laning, like everyone knows I die on side lane, right? So that was probably then I felt like a bit of a rookie, when the game hit 25 minutes and the game wasn't perma fighting, then I was like, okay, maybe I'm a bit lost.
It seemed to have been like a very like a rapid improvement, and in the end, I felt like that year kind of was we're gonna put everything in the GiantX basket. You had like the Zeri games and the pop-off games. How did that begin to manifest? Like how rapidly did you improve, and what was like the main driving force, you think?
I think in summer it was like the biggest turning point, right? Because I think that's where I actually improved the most, and it was with my individual coach Nico Perez coming in, right? And I think I never played more 1v1s in my entire life in that split because this guy was working a lot with Korean mid laners, and the Korean mid laners in EU, I've been 1v1ing them, and I feel like unironically like 75% of them are better laners than in LEC because like the 1v1s were actually harder than when I went on stage. So maybe like on lane, that was probably my biggest improvement. And yeah, when it comes to the Zeri and stuff, that's just I don't know. I like to play a lot of random champions, and I saw what like 2 days before our official we played against Heretics, I think. I saw someone in VCS. What's it called? I don't know, the Vietnam league. I don't know what's it called to be
Yeah,
fair.
VCS.
Yeah,
But someone played Zeri into Talia, and then I see if Zviru blinding Talia into me. I'm like, okay, guys, just pick me Zeri. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of just it, to be fair.
You know, I heard a story about like in the beginning when you started doing 1v1s, so there was a TCL Korean mid laner that was shitting on you so hard that he didn't want to play with you anymore. Is
Yeah.
this story true?
It's actually, I think it's true. I mean, he didn't tell me directly, but I'm pretty sure it's true. I think it was Fiesta. Fiesta was
Oh,
is it?
damn, we scrimmed against him today.
Yeah, we scrimmed against him today, actually.
I think this guy, like, I mean, it was like the matchups I didn't know, right? It was like Orianna Azir, and this guy is like a complete two-trick on those champions. Well, I was dying on level 2 on cooldown, so I think at some point I stopped one him, and it was because he just didn't want to play anymore. But I mean, that is true. I mean, it is what it is, right?
I was told that apparently the coach like later down the line like reached out and actually like congratulated you on like your like improvement pretty much. That
Yeah.
was a story that I heard about. So I'm happy that we got the name because I didn't get the name. So it's cool that there was this Fiesta in particular. In regards to it's like there was like this transition, right? It's like I don't know how much you can share, but there was like the TheAntonio came into the team. Do you remember like details in terms of the reasoning behind it and the jump? Because I think for the scene it was like shocking. Odoamne, very experienced, tenured player, and then here we have TheAntonio, like a tank Cho'Gath enjoyer coming into GX.
I mean, I think the reasoning from GX is kind of obvious, right? Which is always branding. I think it was like by far the best branding move they could do, since Antonio is kind of like in Giants the whole time. And to be fair, I didn't understand the move like for first myself, because like nothing against Antonio, but for me Odo is a tank player, right? And then you put a tank like less experienced, on paper worse looking tank player as well. So for me, I didn't see it. But one thing that is true about the roster change is that I feel like top change was needed, no matter what. I feel like as much as I like Odo as my friend, but sometimes the review room was a bit spicy. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
So in summer there was for sure a change needed wherever it was, and I think just Odo tanked the bullet. Like it is what it is, but just happened. So and then for GX, right? They just saw Antonio best branding move. Maybe they, I don't know, they didn't believe that we will go worlds at some point, so they just did the best branding move. So I think that's all I could think of, honestly.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I think watching the games, it was kind of weird to me because I've always thought of Odo as like the tank player, right? And
Yeah.
then when you guys were playing in spring, he was like pulling out things like Jace. Like, I don't know if you remember this game.
That was the
I
last game
do.
of the
I
season,
think
I
I know.
think.
I think I know. I
When-
mean,
Yeah.
that is why he tanked the bullet. I think. That
Oh,
game.
okay, because he locked in Jace. was
Yeah.
this like a point of strife within the team? Like, did the team try to push him more towards like being that tank player, and he wanted to like play other champions? Was that part of it?
Well, as our coach was saying it in the time, I think he would try to get out of his tank cage, But
Mhm.
and one of the regrets was that we actually like someone told me, I don't remember which coach was it, but someone told me that it was his regret of like letting him out or something like this, because he thinks not that Odo would be bad on these picks. I don't think he was actually that bad on these picks. It's just I think he was insane on tanks. Like that's the point. And in our team, I think it was needed. So yeah, just unfortunate, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the thing about that team that I always felt like was that there wasn't enough firepower outside of you pretty much. Like you were the one player that had the ability to play things and really carry the game. But when I think about the rest of the players, it seems like a weird mix of players because Peach was somebody who I mean I just remember as Maokai and stuff like this. It felt like he wasn't a like mechanical freak, or at least that's not how he was playing on stage. Then Patrick is somebody who's just like a consistent player. Then Odo's the tank guy, and it felt like just the team in general lacked firepower. So it was kind of hard to see how bringing TheAntonio would fix that at all. But then the other thing that I thought was super strange was like Antonio's pathing, because he goes to LECs, works hard in ERLs for 8 years, 9 years, something like that. Goes to LEC, plays one split, and then insta retires. Was this something that you expected? What did you think about him just retiring immediately?
Honestly, I mean, I didn't really expect it that he's just gonna insta retire no matter what. But I didn't
Okay.
expect him to like stay in LEC, right? Or at least stay in GX. I don't think. I mean, everyone like, no offense to him, but everyone saw like it is what it is. You can't be 2,000 behind and minute 15 every game. Like you just can't, no matter what you play. Like that's just it is what it is, you know. But yeah, I think for him, it's like he was in ERL for how many years trying to go in LEC, you know. He saw that he came into LEC and it kind of failed. Maybe he just saw no vision in it and might as well just like go stream, you know. Like it kind of makes sense in a way.
He
Yep.
plays
For me.
poker now, right? He just
Yeah,
plays
I mean,
poker.
I think he's kind of smurfing there, so I.
That's just a new trend. We have Jackal in poker, TheAntonio
Yeah,
in poker.
people are just going to poker now, so.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, Jackie's, because always when it comes to like the preparation for like the regional finals, it's like you guys basically took a fucked up bullet in the way that you guys just got hit with G2 right off the bat. Did you have any like hopes? Like how did the practice lead up to the regional finals? Was there any like ambition and hope from what you saw in practice?
Honestly, I lost my hope like completely. I didn't lose my hope completely when we got G2. I didn't lose my hope. I felt like okay, you know, it's kind of delusional, but at the moment I thought we can win. But then we went into practice and I felt like my whole team felt like we are just fucked. So we have to do something random. And in that case, practice went to like playing Ziggs AD carry and shit like this. No, Ziggs AD carry, but it was Antonio on Ziggs, like stuff like this. At this point, we were doing
Oh,
some
because there was a whole thing about this. I remember where the
yeah,
Antonio was just playing Diggs like 100 games in solo queue. And people
yeah,
like there was actually I mean it's that dumbass Express lol who just like tweets random things. He actually just tweeted out. He's like, the Antonio is playing Ziggs top, and it was just like 80 carry every single game. And they're like, hey
yeah,
dumbass, it's 80 carry every single game. You can just check the
yeah.
op.gg. You're the one that made the tweet. You probably should have looked at that. And then he's like, even crazier. And everyone just view that as like, is he like tilted? Why is he playing Ziggs 80 carry? This was an actual strategy where the Antonio was going to play 80 carry, and what Patrick was just going to play top.
Yeah, like you know, it was like Mervin brought out, or not Mervin, but it was this AD carry meta, right? It was like Corki is
Like
AD top,
there's top.
so the
Yeah.
thought was like, okay, we just put our AD carry top, you know, Antonio can play it. So, well, like, what's the worst thing that can happen, you know? One of the strats was to put Antonio Ziggs into caps, you know. I shut down that instantly. Like, I was like, you're just smoking crack at this point. Like,
Okay.
I'm not
What's
gonna
wrong
let
with
you
that, bro? What's wrong
lane
with
caps.
smoking a little crack every now and then?
I mean, maybe if it would help us win, you know. Like, I don't know.
True, actually. If I was a coach, maybe I'll suggest it to the players.
Oh, thank God.
That's why
for the
Yamato's the
Ruddy
coach
Sack.
of the Ruddy Sack.
Ruddy Sack is turning into Ruddy Crack, like just like that, bro.
Hell yeah.
Just-
Hell yeah.
But if
Now continue with the story though. I want to hear more about like this. So why did you guys decide on not doing this the Antonio? Because it seems like he was playing a lot of like Ziggs in general, right?
Well, the thing is, they just banned it. That's why it never happened because they just like
Oh,
G2 just scouted OPGG. Like I think it was on Euphoria after. Like Dylan went on Euphoria or something, and he just said, "Oh, we just saw Antonio play 30 games of Ziggs on his main, so we just banned it because they didn't want to risk anything." And so our whole practice, everything was just gone. And
Oh.
at that point, after the first game, I think Antonio said, "Can we FF?" or something like this, and I was like, "Okay, well,
what
well,
the hell?
just GG, you know, like it is what it is." Like I had hope, but GG. At that point, I was like, I think I was flashing mid level 3 to like get a random solo kill and get fed, but it never worked because I was like laning 4 people every game. It was unplayable, yeah.
Yeah. Did he tell you that? Did he tell you that he was going to retire after game number 1? Like I like okay.
No, it wasn't that far, no.
How about Jackie's in the case like it just by my imagination, if you guys didn't pull G2, how far would you estimate? Like could you guys break through somehow? Which teams could you beat in that regional finals, you think?
Honestly, I think we were actually confident in the first round if it wasn't G2, right? Because I think like MDK before they came to season finals, before they just somehow beat G2, they actually look pretty weak. So and we were scrimming them too, I think, in that practice, and I think we like 4-1 them or 5-0 them or something like this. So we had actually confidence because BDS was weak in that time. I think MDK was weak, and I think those were the 2 teams we could get no matter what. So I think for the first round we were confident if we wouldn't randomly get G2, because I feel like it was kinda even myself, I feel like kinda my meta, you know, where you can just kinda pick literally anything. Like I didn't have to go and play Orianna Azir, which I would have to kinda spam and get way more practice on this. For example, now I'm confident to play these matchups, but before I just wasn't. So it was like Zeri Kai'Sa meta. I was like, okay, AD carry mid, I can just 1v9 these games. So there was for sure confidence, but yeah, when we pulled G2, yeah, GG.
You know, I like how your dialogue works in your mind. You know, like you figure it out. You can 1v9. This is just like your first split. It's so good to hear because I could see this personality shine through in the off season when I was just watching like all of those Champions League games. In terms of how you approach the off season, was there a certain like goal you had in mind? Like, what did you want to get out of the off season in preparation for this year?
I mean, for this year, I mean, to be fair, GX off season ended kind of late, so I didn't even. So I was actually more focused on what team I'm kind of getting because I didn't really know. So, but then I just kind of spammed in-houses to not lose the. Like, I feel like if you go off season for like, I don't know, 2-3 months and you don't do anything, I feel like you're just gonna take 1 month of getting back into it, which for me is just useless. So I kind of just in the off season I was spammed in-houses a lot to like at least stay in it. I didn't even like think about getting better that much in that off season. I just wanted to stay where I am, so I can like instantly start where season starts, right? If that makes sense. And I think I did that pretty decently because right now I'm kind of confident in myself, I would say. So yeah.
Yeah, there's
Like,
somebody who will disagree about that, and that person would be Whippo, who was
Ah.
flaming you on stream. Pretty, he was going in. He's like, this guy is already fucking dead. I remember the
Yeah.
clip. It's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, do you know how to play your champion? Like, what is this? Like, and this is like a Yone play, and you call yourself a pro player, all this type of stuff. What did you think about this situation? Because it seemed like kind of random when I was watching, because I was actually watching live at the time. It seemed like everyone was kind of like joking around, the vibe was good, and then suddenly Bubba just went into review and he just started like going in on you. What was your reaction to this whole situation?
I mean, honestly, I was just laughing. I found it actually very funny because
I was laughing too.
I found it very funny because for me, I feel like he was just mega delusional. Like I think whatever he said was just not true. Like I don't mind if he would like say mid game stuff, but if you're like reviewing my mechanics, I don't feel like he knows how to play Own with what he was saying. So I was kind of just laughing at what he's saying, and when I tried to say something, he just cut me off. So at that point, I didn't like decide to even say anything. I just started laughing and I just like let it on, you know.
as the in-houses, I feel like it's kind of took us back to like old school league. Like in terms of how you built like your relationship with other players. Are there any like homies that you have now, like with the in-houses? Are like some people that you're close with in terms of
Um,
just friendships, which is important in esports. It's a very lonely game.
yeah, I mean, for sure, I feel like almost the whole Vitality players, I feel like I'm just kind of like friends with now for no reason, just because I spammed in-houses with them, right? Even their academy, like Yopa and stuff. So, I mean, for sure, like this off-season felt actually very nice because I feel like even though it was like in-houses, so you could stay in the not that competitive, right? But at least in some way you could play against world players, right? So it was a bit competitive, like you could stay in it. And you just like had fun as well with like random people. So I think this offseason was kind of banger in this, you know. That was very fun.
Something that was so reoccurring, and I think it also carried over because is there always like mid lane in Europe? There's like a certain like let's say class or like generation of mid laners that comes through. Like in the past, there was like the perks and then into Caps generation. There was like Larssen Nemesis, and then it was like the humanoid era, whatever. And now it seems like the new class. I think the two players that stand out the most is just you and Vladi. And you guys played against each other so many times in in-houses. You guys joined the league approximately at the same time. Do you feel like there's any rivalry there? Because I've seen so many games between you two.
I mean, I wouldn't say there's a rivalry because I like Vladi. I think he's a good guy. We talked a bit. Just the one thing that always is back in my mind for some reason when I joined LEC, right, and I saw Vladi tweet something, or like no, not tweet something, but I saw him on solo queue or something. So I went on his Twitter and I was blocked. I was just randomly blocked by Vladi, and I don't even know why. So and he never
Same.
told me why. Once I asked him like, "Why did you block me, bro? Like I didn't do anything." And he just said, "I don't remember." So maybe I entered him once in solo queue or some shit. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's any like there is this rivalry that in a way we're like we both came in the same as you said, right? We both came in same, and we're like on the similar path in a way because I think he's kind of smurfing and he has a very good team. So I think now it's more as a rivalry is more is like GX versus KC for me than just between us two, because I feel like we are like the two teams that can actually like break the G2 Fnatic era thing.
You
And
don't
it
believe
would
in
be, I
Koi?
guess.
You don't believe in Koi at all?
I don't know. I feel like they will fall off. I don't know why. I just have this feeling that they will fall off soon.
Well,
Maybe I'm
mysterious.
wrong, but I don't know.
Winter has arrived, but don't panic. It's not a bad thing. It's an excuse to cancel all your plans and slap on your Turtle Beach headset and game until the sun finally decides to come back. For a marathon winter gaming session, you're going to want the world's most comfortable headset with superhuman hearing technology. Turtle Beach's new Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset picks up so much crystal clear sound, it's basically cheating. Best of all, the Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can seamlessly switch between your console and your PC with just the click of a button. And it gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. Imagine listening to Led Zeppelin while going on a kill streak in Call of Duty. All of us here at Last Free Nation have received Turtle Beach headsets, and the thing that has impressed me the most about the Turtle Beach headset has to be the 80-hour battery life. Being able to charge your headset and then not worry about it for days and days and days on end is so nice as somebody who generally forgets these things. So the comfort is there, the quality is there, and the battery life is the longest that you will have in a headset. It's time to spend that Christmas money on something you actually love. Head to turtlebeach.com and use the code TSD for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your entire order at turtlebeach.com with the promo code TSD.
You know, in regards to like your, because now you're very polite to your colleague in a sense, like he plays mid lane, but he's also your opponent. You're very polite, like in terms of your own like personal ambitions and motivations. Where do we land? Like, give us the thought process. What motivates you?
Motivates me for what?
No, like in general, like why are you playing the game? Why are you competing?
Oh, in general. Okay.
Why are you here? Why are we talking to you right now?
Why am I here actually? Yeah. I don't know. Like for me, it's just I've kinda at this point went into LEC right, kinda dedicated my life into it, and I hate in a way not being good at what I do, and if I know I can be the best, which honestly I feel like I can, I really want to achieve it no matter what. And yeah, so for me right now, I just like motivating myself in a bit and just try kind of want to be the best. So when I lose, for example, it's very like strikes my mental if I lose when I'm playing better than the other mid laner. Like that actually hurts my ego very much. So that's why I kind of want to be the best, so that situation doesn't happen, you know.
It's a jungler's mentality right there. I like that. That's how Closer felt. We were talking about it before when your bot lane got double killed as he's pathing down. He was just like, what can I do? Like, okay, I mean, I guess Zyra is just OP if you can just get this type of double kill. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll just play Zyra every game, guys. Don't worry. Oh no, it's I need to go back to Sejuani duty. Perfect. That's
back to Sejuani.
A great way to.
Don't leak next week. Don't leak next week.
Okay. No Vi Sejuani. I'm sure that Closer doesn't play those two champions. Or Malcat, you know?
We are first picking Nidalee.
First picking Nidalee.
I'll make a note of that.
I wanted to ask you, I guess, a little, because we're kind of just jumping around, but I wanted to ask you how, before you got the XL opportunity, which then became GiantX, how did you perceive your career like to be going? Like, did you think, oh, okay, like after this split, I'm going to be going to I'm going to try to get an LFL team. And then from there, maybe the year after I'll go to LEC. Like, what did you think the path was towards the LEC?
Okay, so my year in Entropic, right? Or like in Czech League was that I felt like I had 2 years contract in that team. And it was like, there was actually for like ERLs, there was kind of a big buyout for me, which was like 50K. So for ERLs, that's actually kind of big. Especially from Czech League, you know. So I was expecting to play 1 more year and then just Czech League and just like try to smurf EMEA Masters and then go to LFL or LVP, something like that.
Did you have like a good contract yourself? Like, did you have a favorable contract? Because normally that buyout would be huge, and normally if you have a buyout that big, that means you actually you have a decent contract at least.
I mean, if I'm talking about like if in Czech League, I think that contract was kind of insane. Like Entropic came in with like a shit ton of money and then just like did everything kind of, because we were living like, even though it was just Czech League, that's not even tier 1 ERL, right? We were still living like as it's full time, because we had our own office, we had our own apartments.
Oh wow.
and
Yeah.
like very very like good salaries for that league. I mean, I think
don't
now
give Ruddy
it's.
Stack any ideas, by the way. Just this is not normal.
I mean, now they cut it down. Like now they realize it's not worth anymore. So,
Okay, good.
but in that year it was very profitable for the players. So yeah, I mean, I would say my contract was pretty fucking good actually for Czech League. Yeah.
Damn. So you had the 50K buyout, so you didn't think you were going to be able to leave Entropic. If you did sit out or wait out the entire contract, was the idea still that you were going to have to keep on playing ERLs? Because normally we see players have to play ERLs for at least some amount of time, like at least LFL, LVP, something like that, before they're able to move to LEC. Did you think that was the path?
I mean, before my move happened, there wasn't any like move like this that you just randomly skip everything, right? So usually it
Yeah.
was the LFL LVP or like win MA Masters or something like this, or do very good in MA Masters. So yeah, I mean, in my head it was like I knew I will go. Like I knew if I don't like somehow completely disaster class at Czech League, I knew I would go like after the year that I was supposed to be in Entropic, I would go LFL because I think Isma in that time was messaging me before he knew he was LEC. He messaged me like, "Oh, I want to get you in LFL 100%, but you have a buyout," stuff like this. So then I realized that people are talking about me already in LFL and LVP. So I kind of like, when I got that message, I knew that okay, that's probably just gonna be my path, right? I will go LFL, LVP, and just try to like just do very good on MA Masters and probably 1 or 2 years go LEC, something like this.
Makes sense.
But,
I'm kind of interested about this Czech league. Was there any other players in the Czech league when you were playing in 2023 that are like that you were like, oh man, this guy's a fucking talent. Like this guy is probably gonna end up going LEC at some point. Was there any really insane players that you had to play against back then?
No, not really. Like it was
Oh
kind
damn.
of
Okay.
like there was maybe
It's dry.
one player that like it was kind of young and he was like kind of high elo and smurfing. But if you're choking in Czech league, for me you're not a great player that's gonna like make it out that much. Like maybe it's some LFL, LVP or something like this. Oh, actually, wait, I forgot. But it was 2022. Actually, there's Sayator. I felt like Sayator was pretty good. That's LVP right now. I don't know if you know,
Okay.
but
Can you tell us
there was
about
one.
him?
Yeah, I mean, that was 2022. I played against him in Czech League, and he was actually like he's I think younger than me as well. So and this guy was kind of like shitting on me on cooldown on
Ooh.
in Czech League because my good year in Czech League was actually 2023, right, in Entropic. Before I joined, I wasn't actually doing that well in Czech League. Like I was not even winning. I think I was like third or second usually, because this guy was always first, right? And he was kind of just destroying me on mid lane. But then he went to LVP, so Czech League was I was kind of alone there. And in 2023, when I went to Entropic, I had Nico on my support, right? Which actually gave me like that guy was kind of like my second coach in a way, and he actually gave me so much info, even though it was kind of like old info because he's a old player, right? That was in LEC, but it was still like very, very good, and I feel like he made me improve so much in that year that I could actually be ready for like LFL and stuff.
Then it brings me back to the story when Nuktag was in XL and there was a conversation that they wanted to basically like change jungler. I think they wanted to change Markoon to like from Dan at the time, who was Young Buck's favorite jungler for some reason. And then I remember like Denik was so sad because we were like out and like Denik was so sad because Markoon set it as a condition that like Advian needs to play and like then it just got benched like out of nowhere. It just brings me back. It's like how cruel the LEC can be sometimes in terms of like how your opportunities and how everything kind of moves and goes.
I was always surprised. I mean, the whole narrative around Denik was that he kind of did dirty in the Misfit split. Like his first split in LEC in 2020, I believe it was 2020 spring, or maybe it was 2021 spring. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but when he had a split, I remember the attitude around him was that he was really good, and people really hated the idea that he was replaced for DOS because DOS the loss, everyone was hating on him. He has bad reputation from solo queue, so it was always surprising to me that Denik had such a strange time in LEC where it's like he had a very small window where he got playing time and then he just got benched. Felt like he got kind of screwed by the system.
Yeah, I mean, I think he told me the story actually why he got benched. I don't. It was like something. that he had a very big disagreement with a coach or something, like very, very big. And they were doing tryouts. I think it was actually against those. Maybe it was a different support. I don't remember. But even though they were doing tryouts and then it was even 10-0, the coach just didn't like him. So he,
Sounds like the Crowny story. Crowny told
yeah,
us something very similar when
like
he was in BDS.
yeah, like Danik apparently was kinda shitting on. I don't know if it was those. I don't want to trash talk him if it was not him. But
You can trash talk him. He did something dirty to us. We had to watch a game of him do like what was it? It was Q max into W
Max Camille. Yeah.
into
Max
secondary.
support.
Yeah,
I think
and
I
he just
remember
ran
that
it
game.
down. So you can flame him all you want. You know,
I
I'm
remember
for it.
the game.
He deserves it at least for that performance.
I remember level 5 at minute 14 or some shit like this. I remember.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, apparently he was just like shitting on him in tryouts, and then he just had a disagreement with coach about some other roster change. And yeah, the coach just said like, I don't like you anymore. Like, just go. Something like this. It was a bit
Hey,
crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
like you
rough,
anymore.
man. That story and then the Excel story, man, it's unfortunate, man. You gotta hold on to what is sacred. You know, I wanted to bring you back to your motivation because I always like to dig a little bit deeper here. You know, you said you wanted to be the best. You know, you never wanted to be the reason to lose. I think Faker had a similar quote. You know, it's like that's similar in the sense that he walks in with the confidence, walking into a game that he will perform better and that he will never be the reason why he would lose, right? And I think that probably in my mind, the Faker as a player, like we only get to see like the beautiful part and the enigma and like all the all the good parts. But I'm sure as a competitor, I could imagine this guy hates losing more than anything. But besides that little story that I just shared, from your side now, where do you rate yourself on this current journey about in becoming the best? Where do you see yourself right now, and what's, let's say, holding you back, or who is holding you back?
Who's holding me back? I mean, that's a crazy sentence, but I wouldn't say anyone is holding me back right now
No,
because
it
I
could be
think.
like a component opponent, like Caps. That's how I meant it.
Oh, you
Not
mean
like
like this?
like
Okay.
like a brother or something. It's like you can't play. I'm gonna pull out the cable. Not like that.
Oh, you're talking about closer in Italy. I was like, this is intense.
I mean, for me, I think I'm right now on the correct path. Honestly, I think like this is the year I kind of have to use it because I feel like I have the GiantX off season this year was kind of like insane what they pulled. I feel like so like the players around me, the coaching staff I have, like if I don't at least go as a top 2 mid laner in this year, then I'm like kind of disappointed in myself because I feel like I can do it, especially after okay, even though we got shit on yesterday, kinda. I I'm even though like the game was not even close. On mid lane perspective, I was kind of happy with how I played because the matchup I played was completely first time. I never played this matchup in scrims before, and I feel like I played it kind of to the limits. Not perfect, of course, but I felt like I played it very good against like the goat of EU, right? So that kind of gave me like, even though we got fucked, that kind of gave me small confidence in myself, like extra, that no matter what I play into these like best players, I can just still pull it off and just be better at them in it. So
Yep.
I think I'm on the correct path right now. I just have to like not fuck it up.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Smolder obsession in Europe? Because this is like something very unique to Europe. Like you obviously played it yesterday. Everyone's playing it right now. Like, you know, Humanoid played it as well. Caps played it this weekend. It seems like it's something that people prioritize in Europe or at least are willing to play. Um, whereas in other regions, people just consider the champion to be just too weak after like all the nerfs that it got. So, can you tell us a little bit about why this champion is prioritized by everyone in Europe?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, even though we played it yesterday, I feel like
Nice.
yesterday was our game was like I felt like there was an actual good Smolder angle because I was playing into AP jungle that would never gank me. I had Nidalee in my team that could like help me around mid because I think it's right now it's actually a very hard matchup into Corki if the Corki doesn't fuck up. So for me, I don't see the reason to actually play it unless you're like mega outranking or something like this, which we were in our game. That's why I felt like, okay, guys, this is actual Smolder game. But some people are fucking blinding it, and I feel like these guys are just like mega trolling. I think this champ is not that insane, especially to blind it. So to be fair, I don't know. I just want to see one time someone blind Smolder into me, like see what happens. You know, like I'm gonna make him go
Okay.
10 deaths.
Yeah,
I'm
is that a
pretty sure.
threat?
Like
Okay.
Yeah, for next week. Like Humanoid, if he wants to fucking blind pick Smolder again, like I will make him go 10 depths. I'm convinced this champ is shit. So
Perfect.
Holy dumb, we are sane. Like I thought we were crazy, but we are sane. This is
Yeah. Okay.
we share the
No,
opinion.
because I mean, this whole time, we've been trying to reverse engineer it. Yamato and I have been talking. It's like, so is this like, is there something that we're missing? I mean, surely if all these LEC players are playing it, it must be good. And then we just interview you, and you just tell us it's just dog shit. Nice.
New year, new us, but believe me when I say me and Dom, we still smell the same because we are backed up by Mando. Mando, 72 hours, order free. You need to be ready for any situation because how you smell is tied to your confidence. If you smell good, there's a swagger in your walk, knowing that any situation you're going to be put in, whether dangerous or fun or exciting or surprising, knowing that you smell good will make you perform better, will make you execute better, will make you feel better. And that comfort is, of course, crucial. All products, they are baking soda free. We don't want any of that. Paraben free, created by a doctor. That's also super important because doctors are very smart, created by a doctor. There is a bunch of different products that you can use. You can also just use the whole body deodorant. That's the one I use the most because what's so cool about it was growing up, preparing for a party, preparing for some kind of an event or anything, you always thought to yourself, it's like, how can you prepare yourself for any situation? You look at your deal stick and you're like, oh, can I put this in other places? And no, you can't. But with this one, you can. You can put it in your grundle. You can put it on your balls. You can put it on your armpits too. You're ready for any situation. So what are you waiting for? It's good to smell good. Mando starter pack is perfect for all new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of course, your choice, like the mini body wash or like the deodorant wipes when you're on the go. And of course, free shipping. As a special offer for all the listeners out there, you can just get $5 off if you're a new customer of the starter pack, which of course I recommend as long as you use our exclusive code. That is, of course, 40% of the whole starter pack price, which is kind of crazy as long as you use the code. What is the code? As long as you use the code TSD. So what are you waiting for? Get on to shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Use the code TSD. That is SHOPMANDO.com. Shopmando. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Jackie, you mentioned this year, this team, you feel like you should be top 2 at least with what you got going on around you. You mentioned Mr. Perez multiple times. Can you tell us more about the relationship between you and him and what he does specifically besides putting you in 1v1s against Koreans to get your ass beat?
no, I mean with Nico, I think the one thing I like about him is kind of like I think that's a good individual coach for me is that he's like a mega kind of nerd about the game in a way. So he's kind of every game I'm playing in scrims, even sometimes in solo queue, he's just like spamming me with some random information, which sometimes is very annoying and very untrue sometimes. But it's like one of the people that
Okay.
like tell you 100 things, but I don't know, like 10 of them are very good, very smart I can use, right? And I feel like having that guy next to me is like very, very good. So of course, like sometimes it's a bit annoying. Like if we go 60-minute game in scrim and we lose somehow mega stupidly and I'm tilted, and then I see like in my DMs that I shouldn't press ult like this way, something like this, it like tilts me. But I think it's very important to have this guy around that like just spams you with random information that are just sometimes like they are not gonna be as useful, but sometimes they are mega useful and sometimes yeah.
I mean,
Does he
I
like
was
to be
gonna.
honest? No, sorry, Dom. You can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask if that was, something that you need as a player, because I feel like there's different types of players. There's players that are, more feel based where they just kind of want to play the matchups, and then there's the players that are mega nerds where they want to look at like every single interaction and be like, oh, okay, when Chovy plays this matchup, he makes sure to like not get autoed here because he wants the Doran shield to
Yeah.
like fully tick before he gets like autoed again. Like, you got the mega nerds. Are you more on the side of like you just like want to just shit on the guy, you go into the game, you try to just feel the matchup out, you don't really get into the numbers, and this guy can supplement that in a way?
I mean, exactly what you said. I think like I'm kind of not the guy to look at all the details in the world. I just wanna like go and like think how I play, and then I have the guy on the side telling me these random ass details I can actually use. Like this guy is telling me that from this angle I can hit skill shots better than from this angle, you know, stuff like this. So it's for sure like I think a good combo, and also he's not letting me be delusional in some ways. Like if I'm just trolling about something, he's just gonna fucking say it. Like he doesn't give a fuck. Like if I get stomped, he's just gonna tell me I got stomped. Like stuff like this, you know. Even though if I say an excuse, he's just like, no, you're trolling. Like stuff like this. So I feel like having a guy on the side like this is just very important for me. I mean, especially when I was like last year as a rookie, right? Now I didn't know how to use it that much. I was kind of just like blindly listening to him. But now I feel like I can actually like use the stuff and I know what he's talking about and stuff like this. So I think it's very OP to have him.
Oh, it sounds like he keeps you honest, and I think
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of teams like underestimate, because a lot of teams that I worked with, I was like the alone coach, and then it's like if someone sometimes players they do bullshit, and if you don't like look at exactly what they're doing, you kind of miss it. And when you have like someone assigned to you, bro, you can't fuck around. You can't like
Yeah.
silent the int. You can't you can't get away with doing garbage, you know. So
Yeah.
it's super important. You know, in regards to the rest of the dynamic, you know, because you're in a unique position. You have on top side, you have the Turkish mafia. The bot side, you have the Korean mafia.
Yeah.
How does the day to day go in terms of practice? Who leads? Who is the loudest in reviews?
Um, I would have to say probably Closer. I feel like I was very surprised with Closer with his motivation in a way because usually, I mean, from even my old team, right? It was like if there's a guy that already won, it's not like he's gonna full try hard or something like this. But when Closer came in, like this guy really cares about winning and really cares about getting better. And when we play bad, even in scrims, he's like, guys, it's fucking embarrassing. Like this just can't happen. And that's what I like about him because I feel like it's someone you need in a team, right? And the unexpected one, honestly, second most voice is probably Noah. I didn't see that one coming, but for me, it's like I like this is in a way like it's a good sign that I have people that just like wanna fix all the issues we can. I mean, of course, it's a completely different process, but they are all trying and everyone's tryharding. So I kinda like that's why I'm so hyped about this year roster in a way.
How is
You
it
said
playing with
you.
Noah in general? I just wanted to know how it is to play with Noah in general because I feel like this guy. I mean, I was somebody who was like definitely on the train of like, yeah, he definitely choked when he played against G2 in that summer finals, but he is a player that I feel like people can't separate the fact that he choked from the fact that he has always been like essentially top tier, like top like 4 or 5 AD carries in Europe the entire time. Like, what's your opinion of him? Do you think this guy is just completely insane, or how's it felt to play with somebody like that?
I mean, I think Noah is very fucking good AD carry. I feel like he's a very detailed AD carry in a way. Like when it comes to lane and even when it comes to mid game, I feel like he's very smart about the game actually. So which is usually for AD carries, he's just
Yeah,
like
it's
kind
super
of
rare.
brain dead
Yeah.
hitting mid wave, you know, and just not doing anything. So that's what I like. That's what like kind of caught me off guard. I didn't actually expect it. So yeah, I'm very happy with Noah how he's playing for sure.
Yamato, I
On
saw you
my
had something.
on my end, I'm curious about the two parties then that you mentioned that are less less loud. Lot as a player, for me, also came out of nowhere because I don't really keep track of the RLs. I just watch the major regions. What can you tell us about Lob? Because he seems to be like solid. He plays everything. What can you tell us about how he is and like maybe if you can share us details of how like Giants found him as well.
Huh. I mean, as far as this GiantX found him, I feel like it's similar to me. I think it was for sure like stat as well. I mean, this time he actually had some LFL and TCL and some good like things to look out for, right? I think he played very good AMA Masters. And but also it was kind of like 50% of why he got scouted was because of stats again. So it's kind of like similar to me, but he has way more like you can look on way more stuff. It wasn't that much of a flip. And with Flot, I don't know, this guy doesn't feel like a rookie to me. That's why like the issues I had when I came in was like mid game side laning. I didn't understand this stuff, right? But for him, it's just very natural, and I can talk to him about like stuff that's all that like I'm kind of in a way sometimes I'm learning with him, you know, already, and he's supposed to be the rookie, not me anymore. So it's very nice to have this like guy that I can just I don't even have to teach him anymore. It's like we skipped the whole step of like, I don't know, for example, mid game, right? We skipped everything that like a new player that's coming in has to like learn. He just knows it by default. So I think Lot is honestly insane.
Since you mentioned like the macro side and the side laning side, a theory of mine is that now with Atakan in the picture, is that macro has been kind of lessened in the game and you're tested more mechanically. How do you feel about like the progression of the game and how different it is this year in comparison to the previous year?
I mean, I wouldn't say it got like the macro got like lesser. Is that the word what you said? Like lowered,
Lessened? Yeah.
lessened, yeah. Because even though it's an objective that's supposed to be like fighting, right? You can't like Atakan is not an objective. You can just start randomly and just make a fight, right? Like if you start it bad, you will lose, no matter what. So there still goes tempo in mind, and there still goes like the macro part. But I think what I like about the change is that for every team is different, right? For every team it's new. So it's not about like, for example, the game 3 years ago was like always the same, right? Like there wasn't that big of a change like for the next years and stuff. But now like the game completely changes. So it's just for the first two splits, it's like whoever picks it up faster, you know? That's what I kind of like. Like all the teams have to adapt very fast. And if you have players that don't adapt very fast, which for example are just the old players in the scene, right? Like for example, I think
Like
Rogue is
Yankos, Perks, like these types of guys.
I mean, for me, I mean, yeah. Okay, I see what you did there actually, yeah. But I wanted to mention Rogue, right? I feel like
Ah,
Rogue is actually not that bad of a team for me. Mechanic, like these guys actually don't play that bad first 15, 20 minutes. But then when it comes to like new Atakan and stuff like this, and I feel like they just kind of fall off because they are used to of one play, like one way of playing the game, right? And you just can't play it like that anymore. You just can't. Like the game is completely different. So I think it like favors the new players like
so
way much
so
more.
Rogue is low IQ is what he pretty much just said. Okay, Yamato, you had another question. Let's keep it moving.
We just don't let him answer. We don't let him rebuttal. We just move on. I guess.
Yeah, just Rogue is low IQ. No, agreed, 100%.
I mean, I agree too, so it's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm just saying they lost with 6 item Azir and 6 item Corki into us. Okay,
I mean,
you can't lose that game.
you saw their Otacon. I mean, you played the Otacon into them. Like that was the worst Otacon usage that has ever been
I
done,
mean,
and I'm pretty sure that we will never see an Otacon used that poorly for the rest of the year. Like I think that's already been like the marker. You remember the situation, Yamato? You remember
uh,
what happened?
I need the vote. I need the vote. I
So
think.
okay, so pretty much they got Otacon, and then they tried to do Baron in front of GiantX's face, and then Jun just flash WRs, hits the whole enemy team. All 5 die instantly, and GiantX just gets Baron. I've never seen like an Otacon be that negative before. I didn't even know it was possible to have like a negative Otacon play until I watched Rogue do that. So well played to
yeah.
them.
I mean,
Yes.
that game was like that situation was a bit funny because we went into Atakan and we were like, oh guys, we just griefed the game, like we just give Atakan, what the fuck? And then they just started Nashor in front of us. We're like, wait, we can just ace them, no? We can just ace them and take Nashor. They are half HP everyone. Like I don't know if they thought like, oh guys, we can fight or something like this. Like I understand if they just fought, you know, but they leashed the Nashor to like 6k. Everyone got half HP and then just got aced. They were like, okay, well we're back in business, I guess.
Yeah,
So it was a bit confusing.
I understood the logic. The logic was like, oh, we have Otacon, so we don't want to use our summoners when we have Otacon. But it's like,
Yeah.
wait, if you just don't flash, and if no one flashes and you all die right next to Otacon, like you still, or next to Baron, you still have to run back to the objective with your Baron. So that was actually like that was insane moment. But yeah, go ahead, Yamato.
It's interesting because like some homie in my Discord, he just found out that like Rogue get Atakan every game, but they just lose anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
They have like really good Atakan takes, but but after that it just fizzles out. That's like how far the Freddy notebook has gone. You know, it's like a couple of weeks in. We have to ask you, Jackies, about the final player, like June. This is the only person we didn't talk about so far. What can you tell us about June and working with June and how that bot lane dynamic kind of works after they've been in Fnatic?
I mean, honestly, for me, like June, I don't know. This guy, I feel like this guy is just completely insane. I don't think I will play with a better player than June. I think in a long time, honestly, because I don't know, like the way like I didn't say he talks much in reviews, right? But it's not like he's not talking. But when he talks, he's just right. No matter what, like everyone agrees instantly. He's just right. Like I feel like the guy has insane knowledge and mechanics better than 90% of the players, honestly. So yeah, I mean, I think June is just like I'm kind of glazing him at this point, but I feel like he's just completely insane. Like I don't know, I can't even hide it. So
Okay, so your Giants contract is that long because you're
yeah,
not moving up. Now, kidding. Just doing the poaching on behalf of other teams, Dom. You know, it's, like we cannot get punished. I think.
Hey, it's more than a 50K buyout now. It's
that's probably more. Yeah.
yeah, it's
uh,
tough.
I wanted to ask you, Jackie's, because we talked about mid, we talked about like your ambition to get top two. What do you think about the pool so far? Like, I wanted to ask you specifically about humanoid. What do you think about humanoid as a player? Because he's quite controversial. He is very, very good, but he can be very dirty too. How do you view him as a competitor?
I mean, I think Humanoid is a very annoying player to play against. That's like one thing for sure, and it's not because of like he would be. I think he's a strong laner, that's for sure. Like for me, he's a very strong laner, but also he is a very team dependent, like very very team dependent. I feel like I could even see from June. I feel like this guy is mega coached to come mid on every wave when he can, because even now with like Mickey, like whenever I scrim Fnatic, Mickey is freezing every single wave he can when Humanoid is basing, stuff like this. So I feel like he's very annoying player to play against, but not because of like 1v1 aspect, but because of like how he makes his team play around him. I think it's like honestly, if he has the mechanics for it and the skill for it, I think it's completely fine, right? So I would say he's not that insane individually, but a very good like team player and how he uses his team. So very also annoying to play against that, yeah. As a mid laner for sure.
We just go down the list, Dom. I'm kind of curious to hear the takes on like all of, let's say, the top five mid laners. You know.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
We just, let's talk about the North American boy, Georgia Pune. What's your take on Georgia Pune? How do you rate him? What do you think about him?
I think Jojo's good. Like he kind of the first scrim I played against him, I could see why he's like so hyped and why he was good in LCS, right? I wouldn't say he's like faker that's supposed to like come down, take the league and stuff like this. But like for example, I know playing against our game, like playing against us, we kind of threw the game, right? We lost, but I feel like he's very simple-minded in a way because flashing in on every Vi ult or something like this with Talia just cannot be the correct mindset in a player. Like I think like mechanically he's very good. I think laning he's very good. But when it comes to team fighting, I think he has kind of big issues honestly because I feel like he's not thinking about the all the like criterias, whatever is the word or whatever about the fight. So yeah, I mean side laning I feel like he knows how to use fake pressure, but honestly, sometimes he's also mega inting. So I don't know. He's a strong player still, though. I think in the LEC mid pool.
And now to tie that to the game that you guys played, you were playing Akali against Estalia. You guys' draft seemed kind of difficult, but I do remember that team fight in the Drake pit when he put down like the rocks in a very good way. But uh, like I have my take, Dom has his take. We're curious about your take. What's your takeaways from that game? You were pretty fed in that one. What are your thoughts in the aftermath?
I mean, I think like we had a very hard draft in a way where I played Akali into Talia, Braum, and stuff, and I was thinking if I could change my pick, honestly. Like after the game, I felt like maybe I could pick something that's just easier, but honestly, I came to the conclusion I actually can't with the bans and stuff and what was picked. So I felt like Akali was actually the best pick I could go. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what came into the conclusion. But that game, I feel like after we got Atakan and Nash, and I feel like in a game where you get Atakan and Nash, you should never lose, or you should get them. Like you shouldn't end if the team enemy is good, of course, with our comp, but you should make a like big enough advantage to just not lose the game.
Yep.
So in that game, like it felt really bad to lose, but it really like at the same time it didn't feel as bad as the G2 game, for example, because we still played good. Like we still got the thing, we just misexecuted the attack on the Nash, and that's something you could change very easily, right? Like we just fucked up. It is what it is. So I think we also could easily win the game once. I think Elia mega griefed. I don't remember if you actually. I don't know if you actually remember the
Like
game
the
or not.
viral
Like,
on Ezreal, you mean this one?
no, no, no. I know he had like it was like maybe even 40 minutes, 35 minutes or something like this, and Vi just queued into me and Sejuani in mid lane, like straight up into the bush without flash. But my Sejuani decided to go on the carry instead of him, like just unfortunate,
Yeah,
you know. But stuff like this, we should like there was many moments we could 100% win the game. So a bit sad we lost, but again, I feel like we played okay. So it's not that crushing defeat, you know.
yeah. No, I can definitely see that. I wanted to ask you earlier, like when we were talking about this Madkoi team, you said that you thought that this team would fall off. And to me, I feel like they look like one of the strongest teams when it comes to the fact that they actually like play with intention. Like them and KC, it feels like they have very good like early game plans, and they're able to, like it feels like they're able to extend that through the entire game. Like, what do you see their fall off being? Like, why do you think this team will fall off?
Well, for me, I think as a team, I feel like they are very good. But for me, I don't see them being. Like, this is my kind of my hot take in a way because many people disagreed with me on this. But it's like I don't think they are that insane individually, and I think later on, if like the good teams individually will finally become a human team, like as a good team, then you're just better individually and same or better team. Then I feel like this team that has no individual, like it's like BDS for me, like last year, because
Yeah.
for me BDS was just weak individually, but as strong as a very good team, right? Like together. But that's what I see about MDK right now. I don't think that they are insane like individually, but team-wise they are right now very strong. That's why I think in the winter they will do very good. Maybe in spring, but honestly in summer I don't think they will be that insane. That's what I think about them.
Like which player specifically? Because you said that Jojo you thought was pretty good individually. I've always thought that Alvaro is good individually. Is it like a Super Merwin thing, or is it just like the rest of the players are just fine? Like, is there anyone that
No,
you think like will not be able to cut it later on?
I mean, I don't think they're like bad. I just think they're like not insane. Not insane. Like when it comes to Mervin, I feel like Mervin, as much as me, honestly, like was kind of lucky last year with the meta. I think because he's also like this guy that plays almost everything right on top range, top laners.
Yep.
But I feel like when it comes back to like tanks and stuff like this and normal champs on top, I don't feel like he's as much as I like the guy. I don't think he's like that insane on them.
I mean, we
So
saw that at Worlds, right? Like that was the whole
yeah.
problem at Worlds is when he wasn't playing these weird picks, he did struggle. So I can definitely see that.
Yeah, and for me, I think Supa is actually like one of the good individually parts, but I feel like even Elyoya is like sometimes I can see that he has moments where he just like I don't know. I feel like these players are just not mechanically gifted anymore. I don't know. I just feel like when I'm watching them play, I feel like you can just outplay them very easily. Not even outplay them, but just so many gaps in how they play. I feel like.
I can definitely see, especially like in Elioya's evolution. It seemed like his first 2 years he was mechanically super insane. But I remember like when Dom and you and me were watching like his Belveth play. Remember like he was like misplaying mechanically, and
Yep.
I remember also in like the AP meta. I remember when he like pulled out the Rengar, was also like making many mechanical mistakes. And I like him the most when he's playing like the very simple champs. And I wonder if, just to play along here with the idea that the idea and the seed you've planted, Jackies, is as an idea I had was that if teams are going to remove Vi from Koi, because I think it's a very crucial champion for them, I do think that a part of their gameplay loop becomes like less streamlined. But I do think a very good part of what I like is I think they are very decisive in the way they engage, and I think that they connect super well in terms of like when they choose to fight, because I think in terms of how Alvaro Elioya work together, it looks super good. Dom, on your end, what do you like about Koi? Because I know that you kind of you mentioned already like before they played this weekend that you think they're strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just have like really good like early game plans generally. Like it feels like they're very trained in like okay, like we know like when to lane swaps. It feels like they are all on the same page with how they want to play. Like they're draft out like who's going to be weak sided, who's going to be strong sided, when like where Elyoya is going to path. Like if they're going to start grubs on spawn, if they're going to start drakes on spawn, if they're trading, like all this type of stuff. It feels like they're always like aware of what they're doing. Where a lot of times I see teams kind of be lost. I mean, this is one of my criticisms of G2 recently. You see G2 in the situation when they were playing against BDS, where they're up like 8K gold, and they're just doing Otacon, and then they don't know if they're turning, and they don't know if they're fighting, and then they just lose the whole game. I feel like I never see these moments out of Koi. Like, I feel like Koi, they do get mechanically outplayed, and sometimes they like go too deep, or they have like a wrong idea, but they all commit to the wrong idea, and they're like able to, I would assume that they would be able to easily fix these types of things in review. So they feel like one of the most on the same page teams out of all the teams. And that's pretty much what I like about them the most.
Into the AM has been a supporter of the last free nation for a very, very long time. They have kept all of the lovely hosts very, very well dressed with their t-shirts. It's very important when you wear your t-shirts that you can wear them for any occasion. Some are too wild, some are too crazy, but these ones for me are just right. I can use them with a jacket, I can use them on stream, I can use them for any occasion, and that is very, very important to me. Longevity, also super, super important in terms of washing. Sometimes I wear t-shirts. I like to eat a lot, so if the t-shirt is shrinking and I'm increasing in size, that is a disaster. These shirts are built to last. The fabrics are very, very comfortable, and always they come at you with new deals to make sure that you can update your wardrobe for a very, very fair price. Right now, there is a sale that I expect you to take advantage of. There is currently an Into the AM anniversary sale from January 22nd to February 9th with up to 50% off, and you can get an additional 10% with the code LFN at, of course, intotheam.com/LFN. Into the AM has supported us for a very long time. I want to give them our thanks, and I hope that you guys can jump in and show support to us through these, of course, very simple wardrobe upgrades. So go and do it. Use our code LFN. Thank you. You mentioned G2. I guess that's like the perfect segue and crossover. It was your final match of this weekend. We mentioned Closer's Nidalee suffering. And you mentioned like your 1v1 against Caps. I saw those phosphorus bomb dodges. There was like 2 crucial ones in like the all-in trays. They were good. What do you think, before talking about the match, what do you think about G2 and the current status? Like Gilotto made that very, very big statement, and Dylan Falco clapped back at him. What do you think about the state of G2? And do you also think that they're not going to make Worlds at the end of the year?
I mean, I don't know about the not making Worlds part, right? That's I could see the vision, as in like with Koi and Fnatic and KC and us. Like I could see the vision that G2 could be one of the teams out, right? But I don't think it's like 100% thing that they will not make it to Worlds. Like it's still Caps and BB solo lanes. Like it's not be delusional, those are just the best solo lanes, I think, like right now. So I don't know about the not making Worlds part, but I think it's, I mean, they're for sure 100% in my head, they are just weaker than last year, right? I mean, it's okay. It's kind of hard to say when you got fucked by them yesterday, but but in general,
But you were
before I
getting
went
fucked by them last year anyway. You can compare
yeah,
the
I
fucking
mean, exactly,
you know.
exactly. So I feel like right now it's way more like different G2 because I feel like they actually don't have a direction in a way in their game. Like whoever is making their calls, I don't know who reads it right now because they're like kind of jungle support change, which is like kind of a big change, right? So it's gonna be maybe taking a long time for them to like sync and stuff. So right now I don't think they're actually that strong. I mean, yeah, we got fucked. It is what it is. But right now, like there was one game where they just, I feel like every time they lose a game, it's a random ass decision they make, and then they just cannot get back into it. I feel like when this team is actually losing, they just go run it down. That's what I think about G2 right now. So I don't know. Maybe they will clap back in spring and summer, maybe even in winter, because their game against us was kind of clean. So I don't know. Maybe they are coming back, but right now for me they are on the weaker end. Yeah.
I would say though that the game versus you, once they got the lead they did, it was a very streamlined game. It's very easy to play. Like, you know, your comp wants to have like levels of poke. You guys want to actually like get to objectives first. And if you guys are just weaker and you know, you're
GG,
yeah, it's just GG. Like you guys can never get to an objective first, and it's hard to play. So yeah, like the way that I saw that game is it didn't really show me that G2 was like conquering their demon, so to speak, or they've suddenly like made a level up or something like that. It just felt like a game where, yeah, I mean, my Zyra has Leandri's at 8 minutes. Like, how can we
Yeah.
fuck this up? We just walk to
Yeah.
every objective and then like you just win the game. So I wasn't. It was an impressive game, but not impressive in the way where I now think that the team doesn't have any issues or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me, it's like I feel like we fucked up. I think by giving BB Cassante, because I feel like that's actually their only champion that BB can actually impact the map so much. So I think if BB and Caps are not smurfing the game or like not leading the game on their best champions or something like this, then I think the team is not that strong, right? Which is what we kind of gave them, unfortunately. But that's kind of my take on G2.
I wanted to ask you because it's crazy how with this format, right? It's like getting that one win. It's like regardless of how much quality it was or not, it's like getting that win must have been like that must feel great for G2 considering it's like the stable of Gelato and them being like in a bad spot. Beating one of their main competitors must be a hell of a thing. You as a player, like you've only played in this current format with the Super Weeks and the Super Weeks. I'm curious on your end. How do you experience the format? What do you think about this format in particular? Because a lot of old school guys, like the people that played in the past, really, really hate this format. So I'm on your end, what do you think about this format?
I mean, for me, it's like I like the format in a way. It's like kinda you can't slack, you know. Like if you slack for a bit, if you slack 1 week or something, and you go 0-3, it's not even that the fact that you are 0-3. It's also the mental state in a way. Like you have 3 scrim days to fix it, and you have in your mind that you went 0-3, and maybe your scrims go wrong, and it can snowball very, very easily, you know. So I I don't think the results matter that much, as in like I don't think you should care where you are on the standings. You just need to make sure you're fine mentally, because for example, I don't know, like what is SK today? SK 06 or 1-5?
06, yeah.
0-6. They
Yeah.
haven't won a game.
I feel like they can still make playoffs, right? If they like win all of them. But mentally, it's
No,
very
they can't.
fucked. They can't.
They can't. They have
Okay.
no ambition. That team is going
Okay.
0-9.
Okay. I meant like standings wise, they could theoretically still make it. But for me, mentally, they must just be gone. Like it's so little time to actually fix it, which is like kind of ruthless. But I kind of like it, like this type of format myself, because yeah, you just can't fuck up, you know. And if you fuck up, you have to get back instantly up, or you're just gonna get snowballed, and you can play 9 games and GG.
As a follow up in regards to the format, because in this week in particular, week 2, it seemed like Giants, you guys came with very different strategies in comparison to the previous one. Like the Kali draft, I think was a rough one to play, and then closer played Nidalee. Have you ever been in the position where it's like your conviction might land wrong, or the practice might like lead you to the wrong thing, or why was the approach so different in week 2? You would say.
I feel like for some reason, I mean, there was a new patch, right? So there was a little bit of a meta shift. I mean, the patch wasn't that big, but there was a little bit of meta shift, and I feel like we kind of got lost in the sauce, as they say, because we had like I don't think when we went into this week officials that we had like a clear like okay, this is broken, this is broken. We did not really have that, and yeah, this week was just kind of confusing because even in the game against Heretics, we thought we are red side, and then we go into the draft room and we are blue side.
Whoa.
So
I've
I
had
don't.
this before. I've had this before. This is I've never seen my manager get flamed harder than when this actually happened to us.
Yeah,
Like
but I don't think like I still don't know whose fault was it or what happened. Like I don't feel like it was our manager's fault, to be fair. I feel like we just fucked up as a team or something like that. I don't know. I don't really care whose fault is it. It's just for me that's a sign that this
you're
week
not
it
locked
was just
in or
like
something.
a bit confusing, you know, like very confusing.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say if you have any questions about like meta or top lane pryos or anything like this, Bwipo has released all of his pryos to the world now on his Twitter. He got 10,000 likes, so he said if I get 10,000 likes, I'll release everything. And he went through his entire thought process on everything top lane, every single champion, his priorities, what he thinks is good in the meta, and everything. So that could be a starting place. You know, if you want to pass that through to lot, it could get you guys on the right direction.
Yeah, maybe I have to go to people's Twitter now. Yeah.
I have to say, bro, this is probably the easiest time to do this because I feel like the priors are the same for everybody, you know? It's like,
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
mean,
surprised if it isn't like first pick Jace, pick Kisante, ambassador to Kisante, Rumble if you have
yeah,
AD mid.
it's
It's
very,
probably
very
like the cheapest
straightforward now. Yeah,
moment.
No,
Yeah,
there was some interesting stuff in there because I think a lot of people have the mentality that like, Rumble is OP. In Asia we just see Rumble first picked. It's like you get Rumble and you instantly pair that with like Sejuani Yone or something like that, and it's like boom, that's your team comp, and you're ready to go. Throw an engage support in one of the first games, and you're good to go. And he was saying that like, oh, like Rumble is like not that good blind because enemy team can go like Karma or Lulu or these types of champs. So I would say that's interesting. Also, I know a lot of players like picking Ambessa into Jace, and then he was saying that he thought that it's not that good of a matchup or it's kind of fake
Okay.
in a way. So I think that he's got some spicy stuff there, which is really crazy because I didn't even know you were like allowed to do that. Like give away your prials and stuff like that. I think that there was like something I've heard before that there's some like issues with that when it comes to like betting and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
it could be seen as giving away information. So I didn't even know you were allowed to do this in the first place. But then also, like it just seems so crazy that your coach would allow you to, give us the world because you got to win these matches. Like if you don't win your next two matches, you're done for the split. Like it's a time where they're still, in competition like very heavily. So I was very surprised by the entire thing. Like yeah, I was just, and also just for a certain amount of likes, it's like damn, okay, 10,000 likes and all right, like. Guess the $2.50 or whatever you make from the Twitter post is worth it.
But what if, Dom? What if he just does the age-old strat of lying? What if he's lying?
Yeah, I thought about that. It just doesn't look like he's lying. Like it's like if
I
he's
don't think
lying, it's
Pippa
like
is the type to lie about this, honestly.
I mean, if you just read like his reasoning, it's like all things that I could definitely hear it in his voice. Like when I was reading it, I started going into my Blippo mode. I'm like, oh, I mean, why would you pick Jace? Like, well, I mean, yeah, of course Jace can beat Mbessa. Like, why would Mbessa be better than Jace? Like, I was ready for it. So I don't think he's lying.
I wish I was in the room when he pulled that up. He brought that to Nuktak and Mithy, and like I know every party in that conversation, and I just wish I was there still. Just how that went down. I have this feeling that Bwipo just kind of tired them down, and in the end, they're like, "Our life will be easier if we let them do this." So, rock and roll, Whip. Would you do this, Jackies? You're gonna tell us all your priors? Smolder's the best champion.
Only on Twitter, okay? So I get a bunch of likes. I can already.
How many?
At least 15k.
Oh, okay.
15K.
Then I'm
Okay.
saying my mid champ pool.
All right. So
can
you
make
think
that
you're more
happen.
famous than Blippo then? You're demanding more. You think your prials matter more to the world? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Based. I don't know if he'd like that. He might VOD review your Smolder game, or actually, he might VOD review your Azir Dash and really let you know about that one.
My Azir Dash, yeah, that guy, that went a bit sideways, yeah.
Yep. Actually, it was more. It went
It was actually exactly
correctly.
forward, yeah.
Yeah, it was
It should have
exactly
been
forward.
sideways.
Actually,
It should have been sideways.
yeah, true.
Yeah,
Actually,
that was a bit unfortunate, that one, yeah.
oh man.
Yeah, I want to do the rundown of all the mids. We mentioned everybody. We talked about, like I mentioned, in my mind, you have a rivalry with Vladi. I don't care what you're saying. But can you break down Vladi as a player and what his strengths are and what his weaknesses? I think you did such a great job with the other players. So let me hear your thoughts on Vladi.
I mean, the thing is, I never thought about Vladi like this, but if I have to say, I think Vladi is a similar player to me in a way. I think like he's very aggressive. Like if you make a mistake, he will try to punish you no matter what, and he's trying to like some cheesy stuff, even on side lane, on mid game. So that's what I like about him and like playing against him, because I feel like a lot of the different players are very like, all the other mid laners are very like streamlined what they do, but with Vladi, it's not that easy to predict him. And I feel like whenever I play against him, it's just it's just kind of a shitfest on mid lane sometimes. So, and I like these type of like lanes, I don't like just farming and don't doing anything. So with Vlade, I have to say, I don't know if I mean, I feel like sometimes he like forgets that there is other roles in the game. Like I've seen him die this week's or even last week into junglers on wards, even against us. Like when he died into a closer gank level 3, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
closer was on a ward. Like that just can't happen to you, right? Like, I'm pretty sure if like Yike had to just report him on the spot, like you know,
He
stuff
flashed
like
too.
this.
I remember this shit. Like you
Yeah, he
guys
flashed. He
invaded,
flashed
pushed up
too, and
Renata.
yeah, it was a bit crazy.
No, for sure. I always like when I looked at you two as players, I always thought that he became better as the game progressed. But I watch you guys in houses so much, but I always thought that you were the stronger laner. Like I always. Like,
I had the same read. The thing I liked about Vladi was his side laning. I thought he was better than you on side lane in terms of like just understanding how to progress the game. But like in terms of laning, you were better. So now, I mean, things are probably a lot more even. But last year, that was my take on both of you guys as players, because Vladi had like, even when you listen to his comms, it feels like he was somebody that was really good for KC because he understands like a level of restraint and what's not possible, because that KC team was very like, you know, you get one kill. Can we end? Can we end? It's like, bro, like chill out. Like, what do you mean? Like, we killed the fucking support, bro. Like, just take like one wave. I'm gonna take bot tier 1. Like, what the fuck is this? So I appreciate like what he's done for the team, because it feels like the old rosters didn't really have that player. I wanted to actually ask you more about some of the other mid laners, because there's a lot of historic mid laners in, you know, the LEC. I mean, Larssen is somebody who is getting mega flame now. I don't know if you saw the recent thread. I mean, you're smiling right now, so I assume you saw the thread.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah, there was a thread from like Zoxy style where they're like, this guy hasn't been out of fucking master in like 2 fucking years. Like, this is disgusting. Like this guy should like learn how to play the game, whatever. And he was somebody who was a dominant mid laner for a period in the LEC. I mean, he was definitely considered in the top tier for at least like 3-4 years there. So I wanted to hear your take on Larssen as a player, because it feels like, you know, his strengths have kind of gone by the wayside, and now he's kind of a shell of his former self.
I don't know. I always thought that Larssen is a strong laner, honestly. Like, even till now, I don't think he's that weak on lane. So I don't know what happens like when the game turns minute 15, because for some reason, like Larssen is actually a player that kind of wants to abuse you online, or like he's trying kind of playing for it, or like looking like he's playing for it. But then it turns minute 15 and he's scared to touch a side wave or something like this. And like in fights, I feel like he's also scared to hit. I don't know what happened, because when I was watching him in 2022 when he beat G2 or something, I don't know what the year was it. I think it was that year. I felt like this guy was fucking insane, and then out of nowhere he was just like kind of playing like a bitch, honestly. Like there's no other way to play, like put it. So even the game against us, like you're playing 6 item Azir against full frontline like game, you know. It's not very hard to like win this game. You can just hit anyone. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened with Larssen, to be fair.
Interesting.
It is weird because I felt like he peaked even like 2020. I remember. Do you remember the series Dom when he played against G2 and they took it to like 5 games and he was like
that the
playing
Corky Package
Atali?
series? That was the Corky Package series, wasn't it?
I think the Corky Package series.
Oh no, it
happened
was the one after
later.
that.
Yeah. I think in the year after, but in that year in particular, I remember like the series was super competitive. They pushed like the legendary G2 to 5 games, and then the 2022 one when he won, it was like very specific because he like Victor Oriana was the meta. But like I'm not gonna repeat it, Jackies, but I share your opinion. I think this like Larssen seems to be so afraid. It's like how the community described upset. It's like I feel like Larssen is the one that is wee woo, KDA, afraid of everything.
I think the interesting thing about Larssen in that circumstance is when people say upsets like a KDA player, I feel like it's more excusable for an AD carry to be a KDA player in a way, because you can't actually provoke a lot of the action. But the thing about mid laners in the current age is, I mean, with everything that's been played, you're not really in a meta where you can't hit. Like, you kind of just have to be somebody who's willing to walk up, start action, and be willing to like trust your mechanics to, you know, flash whatever you need to, or, you know, just play the fight out. And I feel like, yeah, Larssen just doesn't know how to play like the sequences. I mean, the Rogue team is actually they're pretty disappointing to watch. And yeah, what we said earlier about them, you know, losing the game past 15, it's so accurate. They're the team where they can have the best draft known to man, like Kalista, all this type of stuff, and they won't even be able to win. And I thought that it would be funny to just read this quote, because since we're on the topic of Rogue, Adam, you know, opened his mouth, which is normally not a good look when he does that. But he said, "The mistakes we make drive me crazy. They shouldn't happen in the LEC. It's as simple as that. We represent the highest level in Europe, so we should at least have the decency to perform as well as we can. As far as I'm concerned, we don't even play like an LEC team. So there you go. That's Rogue. Funny thing, I just want to, since we have this platform right now, I'll just say this. So a lot of people don't know, but this Zoxy style guy, the guy that wrote up the Twitter thing flaming all of Adam's teammates, he is associated with Adam. He is one of Adam's mods in his stream. He's somebody who is a huge Adam fan and stuff like that. So I always think it's funny when a fan talks like this, or like people view it as like, oh, it's a fan talking like this, because in this case the fan has an agenda. So I guess we can just leave the Rogue topic there. Where do you want to go from this, Yamato?
I guess, on my mind is just it's fun now, though, because we're like in the middle of season. We did the sack down. It was like we were grabbing a lot of players in the off season. Now we're in season. So Jackies, big match, Fnatic, it's coming up. You mentioned Humanoid just gets helped by his teammates. You don't respect them? No, I'm kidding. Tell me about the Fnatic matchup. What are your expectations? Are you gonna fuck them up? What makes them dangerous? How are you gonna Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu them and basically do a submission on them?
I mean, even with how our week went, right, I'm still very confident in our team, to be fair. Like, I think like we are very, very strong team if we honestly don't fuck up first 5 minutes of the game. And I think Fnatic, I think it's a fast team to play against. Like, I think the game, honestly, I wouldn't like come in. I mean, of course, I feel like we will win. I think we will win. But I wouldn't come with like we're gonna stomp them, because I think they are a team that's like I wouldn't be surprised if they played the type of team comp we played into G2. They're literally Smolders, like only position, only tempo, stuff like this. So I feel like the game against them will be very fun in a way, because even from scrims, I feel like we scrimmed them like the day before officials, and it was all 50-minute games of like legit straight and like back and forward, just perma fighting and only tempo based like stuff. So I feel like the game will be just very, very fun, honestly. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be nice.
Well, I will say they looked pretty weak into Nidalee in their most recent game here. 113 was kind of making a montage on them. So
That's true.
maybe
Yeah.
it's time to run it back for closer. What do you think?
I think we're running it back 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So Skarinin is just like a money bag. Like he seems to be doing his Doran arc. Like he has decent input and output in the game, but he walks around with a 0-5 scoreline like that Jace game, the Rumble game. Like he's definitely someone that you can just collect and pick up. In regards to the two other teams, like you guys have 3 games, super weak. There's BDS and Vitality. We were doing the mid lane thing, so how about we continue with that trend? Nuke, what do you think about Nuke? What's up with him?
I feel like Nuke. I don't know. Nuke has his own games, Like I feel like sometimes he looks like he's by far the best player in the world for some reason, and then it's like next game it suddenly instantly changes, and he's like missing everything and stuff like this. I mean, maybe it's just like from scrim results against them and like how we played against them in scrims, but I don't see BDS as a strong team anymore. I just don't. I feel like even though they got Parus, right, which I think is a strong support, I think they basically downgraded, and I feel like Ice is not what was Ice like. Wait, how do I say this? Ice was not what he was before in summer. I feel like Ice was a way different beast, and now I feel like he's just like laying down in his like back in his chair, waiting for summer again or something. I don't know. But for me, I don't know. I don't feel like there is anyone with like a huge carry potential in that team. Like 1-1-3 tried with Nidalee and didn't work. I feel like unless like against like they should have lost against G2 as well, right? Unless Nuke didn't hit the fucking 5-man shockwave. So I don't know. I just don't see a strong point in that team in a way. So I'm not really scared of him. And Nuke and his own, I think, strong laner, but I feel like that's Scanite.
Yeah, I feel like BDS has lost completely their identity, because if you go like a year and a half ago, what were they? They were the team that always played 2 lanes. Like Adam, was somebody who was able to, just draw a ton of pressure. They would play around bot lane. They would stack Drakes. They were like one of the best teams at setting up objectives. And now when you watch them play, it feels like that's maybe their worst point. Like when you watch them try to set up objectives, it's like horrible. It feels like they can never decide, oh, are they going to, try to poke here? Are they defending this brush? Are they going to like dive deep? Like it feels like all the decisions that they make are like random almost. And 113 seems very like trigger happy when it comes to how he plays situations out.
That's
Like
very
he's just
true,
like
yeah.
throwing spells, so.
You just see someone and goes instantly, no hesitation.
Yeah,
Can't
no
respect.
hesitation. Yeah,
Like, all-
it is respectable, unless you're trying to win League of Legends games. So
That's true.
my end, like BDS, they just remind me of that the rogue roster with like Larssen and what was the top laner's name? The guy who basically just put up 2 middle fingers on broadcast, like and just did the crazy thing. Like, what was his name?
Shigenda.
Shigenda, like, and they had like Malrang, and then they had Com Trimby, and that like roster was so crazy to watch because it was like you had one player that was trying to fight, which was Malrang, and he was like very trigger happy. It was like always there, and then everybody else is just kind of like, okay, like I am going to just see what happens and just like keep some distance, like social distancing, like it's fucking COVID or something, and they're not like throwing their body on the line. And I kind of get the same feeling with these guys because it's like we're watching those Drakes and it's like, oh, you're so strong here. Why don't you walk on them? They are just taking Drake 5v4 in front of you and you're letting them. Like, why are you letting Fnatic do this? And I kind of feel like this is just reminds me so much of that Rogue roster because it was just exactly the same. It's like one guy fighting a little bit too much and then the rest just kind of going with the flow, and the flow was just down the toilet.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear more about Parus because you said he was, you believe him to be a strong player. Every player has told me this guy is good, and then I watch him play, and I think he's terrible. So like, what am I missing about like Parus? Like, what does he do well that I'm not seeing as an observer? Or is it just like he's choking on stage? What's going on? Because I haven't seen anything remotely redeemable about his support play in LEC.
I mean, honestly, I kind of see your point because even for me, like I said right now that I think he's a strong player, right? But even when he was playing on stage, I was like, this is not the Parus I know from Scrims and from what I watched before, like something is for sure way different because he's not like in my head he's a strong player, but on stage he doesn't look like a strong player 100%. Like I completely agree with you on that. So
what's normally his strengths? Is he like good mechanically? Was he really smart about the game? Is it a mix of everything? Because like for me, I would say the most shocking thing is he looks like pretty weak mechanically right now, which is something that I thought he would be much better at, considering that he played a lot of Champions Queue. People liked him, and he was high on the solo queue ladder. So when I see these things, I assume that mechanics are going to be something that they're good at.
I mean, for me, I know him as an actually strong mechanical player. Like he's a pike one trick, not one trick, but a pike main as well. Like if you're playing pike, you have to have some mechanics in your your arsenal, So I don't know. I actually have zero idea what's like. Okay, what's wrong with him is a bit too far, but like what's happening on stage with like his performance because I mean it's exactly what you said. Like I think he's a strong mechanical player. I think he's quite smart about the game. He was mega hyped in BDSA, right? He was smurfing in EMEA Masters. He was playing good in scrims, and now he goes on stage and it's not happening. So I have no idea. It has to be something inside the team, But
yeah, I mean the BDSA thing is funny because you look at this team and everyone was like, oh, BDSA, like this team is dominating everyone, all 5 players. I mean, what people were telling us last year was this BDSA team would be like the 4th, 5th best team in the LEC right now. They're like actually insane. People would tell us this all the time. Apparently they would scrim G2 and they did pretty well. And now you look at the majority of those players and it just looks horrible. Like, right? Like you look at SK, their solo laners are having a rough go of it. Parus is having a rough go of it. I wonder if there was just like something that was covering up all the weaknesses with that team because, all those players for the most part, except for, I guess, Skumond, have not looked the best so far.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Honestly, like I don't know, they were so high. Like from what I know, that
did you scrim
GiantX
them?
was.
Did you scrim
like
them? Like
BDSA?
Yeah,
I think we did actually. I think we did, but in like old GX, I think we 6-0 them or something like that.
okay. All right.
I didn't see like I could see why they are good in, but that was the whole thing about ERLs. To be fair, against LEC and scrims, I feel like ERL teams are not used to getting punished, as in like when they play against LEC. It was against KCB as well, like last year. I feel like these teams they just like to die, in my POV at least. Like they are not used to people actually punishing them for stuff they do very like normally, So maybe that was the key thing. Like why they
Why
look
did
good
Los
in
Ratones
ERL.
go 4-1 against you guys? in scrims. That never happened, but you
They
know,
did.
people like that narrative.
I don't know, bro. I just got the random Instagram DM that we got 4-1 by Los Ratones. I didn't understand it. I
Yeah.
don't know where it came from, but maybe
The
they're
proof
just fakers.
the proof was obviously because Caedrel had Closer as a friend on TI.
I
That's
mean, he
all
has
the
me
proof
as
you
well.
need.
He has me as well.
Even
So I
more
guess
proof.
even more
Yep.
proof, yeah. So
Even more
I mean,
proof.
what can I say? Like Nemesis just fucked me. It is what it is.
Nice. Nice.
It's nice. It's nice that you will own up to it now. You know, it was a little
Yeah.
bit cringe when you try to play it off on Twitter to save your ego. You know, like
Yeah.
now you just
I mean,
now everyone knows Los Ratones. That's actually going to be the title of the video. Los Ratones 4-1 versus GiantX in scrims. Get a lot of
I mean,
clicks, that's for sure.
The truth had to come out. You know, it is what it is.
I actually wonder if we were to completely clickbait and lie and put that as the title, how many people would just, this is actually a test. Fuck it. Like, put this as the fucking title. See how many people don't actually watch the episode and just like run with that bullshit, bro. Like, I think we could just like change, we could just create a really fucked up narrative.
I wouldn't
Here.
be surprised actually.
Yeah. I mean, they don't listen to anything anyway. Like most of the time, I see the comments and they're like, did they talk about this in the episode? It's like, I don't know, like watch the episode and maybe like, I mean, it's like time stamped. Like you can see like what we talked about generally. But yeah, that's a good idea. Nice. Let's just spread a little misinformation.
I like it. I like it. You know, Jackies, at this point, we kept you almost for 2 hours. And, you know, the usual business where I want to land is just like I guess the final question, because the top five is very clear. The bottom five is very clear. If you would do your like power rankings currently in terms of the teams, how would you do the power rankings and how do you expect Winter Split to kind of play out?
Oh, like pairing of the teams, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
then for me, I'll go from bottom to up, right?
Okay.
So 10th, I think it is what it is. Like, I mean, SK, like, you know, GG. Like, honestly, like, there is no one's like really achieving that spot instead of them. 9th, I have to think about all of the teams. It's between Rogue and Heretics. I think probably Rogue, because Heretics at least have like, for me, I can see their potential in a way. So I would put like Heretics above Rogue. So Rogue 9th, Heretics 8th. Then I guess BDS, I think 7th. And Vitality 6th, right? I'll
Yep.
put like BDS 7 because I just think Vitality is just better than them. I feel like Cars is kind of smurfing these days, so I think that's probably why. And the top 5, oof, that's a hard one. That's actually a hard one, I think. Is it for winter or for the whole year, or just in general?
Let's start with winter. Yeah, let's start with
Okay.
winter.
Okay, winter. Then I have to put GX first, no matter what, like because we're just
Yeah.
winning for no reason. Then second, I could see KC being second. I could see it. I think they're strong. And then I think, oh my god, it's actually very hard because I still have G2 Fnatic and MKoi. What the fuck?
Yep.
For a winter, I would say Fnatic. Oh no, MKoi third, Fnatic fourth, G2 fifth. That'll be my ranking for winter.
G2 5th. Wow.
It's after
Damn.
they fucked me. Yeah.
You remember yesterday, right? You
Yeah.
okay.
You don't have to remind me.
Okay, I don't have to remind you. Okay,
Okay. They
Throw
won the
in
useless
your
game.
top five, bro.
They won the useless game, you know.
That's
Playoffs
true.
is
Yeah.
what matters.
What'd you say, Yamato?
I just wanted you, Dom, as well. I wanted us to throw in our top five too, just for comparison's sake. Yeah.
Yeah, top 5. Okay, so I think that Fnatic will win the split. I think Fnatic will win the split, and then under them I have Koi, then G2, then GiantX, and then I think KC might struggle when it comes to like best ofs and stuff like that. They might have like synergy issues and stuff like that. So I'll go with that, but I think it'll be relatively close. Like I don't think it'll be a huge gap from 1 to 5. I feel like it really is anyone's game right now in the LEC.
Okay. I follow up with I have Fnatic first, but I have G2 second.
Okay.
I believe in Caps and BB so much, and the foundation of that coaching staff, and then third, I want to put third KC. Like I really like their solo laners. I think Kana is like playing out of his mind now. So I put third KC, and then I'm gonna do the rough one here, Jackies. I'm gonna put fourth Koi and you guys fifth. I'm gonna put you guys fifth.
Nice. So you invite him on the show, and then you just say that you have no belief in him. Like, perfect.
I'm just playing the heel.
Yeah.
Thorin taught me this.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a perfect way to end it. We just flamed Jackies at the end. We're like,
Nice.
like fourth, fifth, perfect. This is
so lost Ratones 4-1 me, and now I'm fourth and fifth. That's perfect.
If we spread misinformation, lie about your career, and now we are trying to just hurt your ego,
in your head,
hurt your feelings. By the way, we're just paid by Fnatic, G2, GiantX, or
GiantX,
KC.
what the fuck?
Yeah, GiantX too as well.
Oh,
yeah, they're tired of your buyout, bro.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
I wonder if we could put something on the line. Maybe we figure something out. We could turn this into like a bet of some sort, but
the thing is, Yamato likes shaving his head. That's the thing is you can't do betting hair with Yamato because he just shaves his head for no reason on stream. So
we can offer some eyebrows. some eyebrows on the line.
Oh man. Oh.
Nah, it would be fun either way. Jackies, we kept you now for 2 hours. Is there something on your mind that you want to share with us? Something you want to bring up?
Not really. I just want to see Rad esports, win new masters. That's it.
I
don't think you guys are getting to playoffs, to be fair, but you have my trust.
Okay.
We are in playoffs now, technically.
Oh shit! Really?
Everyone qualified, but we are in playoffs.
We are. Well, and we I don't think we can be eliminated first round either. It's not possible because we have the double elim, and there's teams that start in the losers bracket. So yeah.
But that's not a good way to look at it. No, if you're looking that you can't get eliminated, that can't be a good way to.
Hey, look, we beat Supermassive today in Scrims.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The guy who fucked you up, Fiesta.
Yeah.
The guy that fucked me up, but last year.
Yeah, Fiesta. I mean, it's okay. I mean, not everyone can play Yone like leader. Oh, by the way, if we haven't been mean enough to you already, I have the clip in the Discord of the Yone play, and it's timestamped. So this is the TikTok mechanics that I remember. So the last thing is we can just get his reaction on this, then we'll just end the episode.
Okay. Wait, I'll just open it then. Fuck it.
Let's see it.
What is this one? Oh no, but it's a misclick, not the TikTok mechanic. Oh my god.
The TikTok
what
mechanic.
What the fuck did I do?
Yeah,
we still won that game, so
you did win that game. Yeah, you did win that game.
That was disgusting, actually. What the fuck?
Oh, it was a forbidden combo. Maybe I'll put it up on my my Twitter just for a reference because I don't know if we could put clips in the video technically. So yeah, Jackies, it's been a good time. Thank you for joining us and talking to us about the LEC and your career. And we will be back next week for episode 24 of the Sackdown.